Welcome to this episode of the Obscurity of Maximum Security with Kara Phillip and, most importantly, Mike Johnson. Today, we are going to talk about education.
Right. There was a lot offered to the inmates back in the 80s, and I'm sure nowadays too. But, a lot of people think that they get locked up and you throw the key away, but there's a lot of programs and job opportunities inside the prison and education opportunities. They can also learn a trade. So the first thing I want to talk about is Lewis University, known as Lewis College back then. And they sponsored a few programs at the old prison. One was auto technology. Auto technology, the inmates learned auto mechanics and body work. They had a car that was donated by a suburban dealership. And the inmates, took that car apart, put it back together to learn all about mechanics. And they also made themselves a spray booth out of plywood sheets where they could spray and learn, body work. The instructor was a real good guy. He ran motor pools in the Army. And of course, he was on payroll with Lewis. He wasn't a state employee. So auto technology was one program where the guys could learn a trade. Another program Lewis had was graphic arts. Now, nowadays, you can do a lot of graphic arts right at home.
Yeah.
But back then, the guys learned doing business cards, printing different things. They even had a newsletter.
Okay.
I remember things like that, and that was located in we used to call it the Lewis Building by the Yard Tower.
Okay. Yeah.
And upstairs, graphic arts was downstairs, and the Yard Department was downstairs.
All right.
It was originally a fire department when they had their own fire department, and upstairs were classrooms. And
that makes sense. They look like classrooms. Yeah, and wallpaper.
Upstairs, when I was a counselor, I used to do my drug education group up there, drug group, substance abuse group up there. Another Lewis back in the 80s also offered an AA or a BA.
Okay.
Now, what happened with that was public outcry. People were like, hey, look it. I'm taking 1 or 2 night courses. It'll take me 10 or 12 years to get my degree. I could steal a car or, break into a house and I can get a free college degree. Well, first of all, nothing's free. Okay. Second of all, who are you locking up with every night?
Yeah, I wouldn't trade that.
You don't know. You could be locking up with Big Dick Nick every night. Okay. I mean, is that what you really want? I think I'd rather be outside with my freedom and taking 1 or 2 night classes a week personally. Okay. Well, anyway, what happened was they took the BA and the AA programs away. Okay. Now in the school, you could still get a GED. And also in the school building, when I was a counselor, I used to be one of the counselors who taught the parole school program. That's where we used to teach inmates how to fill out a job application, write a resume, balance a checkbook. We do role playing like a job interview.
Oh, that's nice.
And then there were intangibles, which, like anger management and stuff like that. I like the more hands-on stuff, But that was another program that we used to do in there. And also I used to do a drug education class one day during the 2-week parole school cycles. That was another thing I did when I was a counselor. As far as jobs, the M&M shop, all right, we had a civilian foreman for all the trades, okay? Carpenter, electrician, plumber, mason, locksmith, painter. We had a civilian foreman for all those trades. And if an inmate could get on with one of these guys and work with them, on a daily basis, they could learn something if they really wanted to, We also had the vocational school. That's where we taught inmates welding. We also had the mattress shop. Now, the mattress shop was like the best job an inmate could have. I mean, as far as money-wise.
Okay.
And they made mattresses, I think pillows, sheets, stuff like that. And if they got a big contract to fill, the guys could make some money. I believe they were paid piecework.
Oh,
And they could make some good money. And most of the guys in there were like doing big time. Their appeals had been exhausted. They knew the best they could do was, hey, work a good job like that, make some money. They'd be able to buy things that they want. And they knew that if they kept their noses clean and had a good record, some counselor like me would come along and put them in for a exception to criteria transfer to a medium security prison,
oh,
which I would do if the guy had it coming based on his record, you know.
yeah.
And you never judge an inmate by what he did on the outside.
No.
He's already been judged
Yeah.
on that. It's how he is inside the prison, his record inside. That's what you judge him with when you're doing transfers and good time and things like that. So anyway.
So yeah, so even with that, even if they're going to stay, life or almost life, whatever, for their sentencing, you of course would prefer a medium security to a maximum security, if you're going to be somewhere.
Right.
So they'll still have the same time, but life gets a little more pleasant.
Yeah. And, guys, they're getting older too, by this point. I mean, some of them were like pushing 40, which I know I'm not saying that's old,
but on the inside,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. They've done some time.
Yeah.
And, they'd like to go get away from all the craziness and maximum security and go to a medium joint, I had a guy one time, he was 77 years old. And the reason why he didn't want to leave Joliet was because it was close to his family.
Fair.
And I said, well, you know what? I told him, I said, I think I can get you in Sheridan, which is like 45 minutes north of Joliet. And I said, I'm sure your family wouldn't mind driving that little extra distance, knowing that you're in a better place than this. He says, I'll talk to my son, and you know what? A couple days I went and saw him again. He goes, yes, you can put me in for that. And I did, and it got approved too.
Aww.
So he went to Sheridan.
Good for him.
And so, but that's pretty much what I got on education and training.
That's kind of heartwarming at the end there. Thank you for joining us on the Obscurity of Maximum Security with Kara Phillip. And most importantly, Mike Johnson. See you next time.
Bye.